The job it is required to do, there may be some questions. Because since they are 1980s, 90 helicopters, you can't expect them to perform at a level of 2014, 2015. But that it doesn't mean that the helicopter is bad. In fact, there are 93 accidents which has taken place since 1986, last 34 years. 62% of them are due to human error, and only 23% are due to technical error. Okay. The rest are under investigation or not known. But what I am trying to point out is the helicopter accident rate is not big enough. It's, in fact, it has come down from 1.5 to 0.41, 0.39 to be precise, 0.39 in the current 5 years per 10,000 flying hours.
Okay. There is a problem in the system. The Kargil war, the general was the spokesperson of the army. I covered that war. General Malik is here. He was the chief during the Kargil war. The Bofors guns, the 155 howitzers, they performed outstandingly well, so the army says. We still haven't been able to get new guns in 2015. Where is the problem?
Bofors was a big issue. The name Bofors is not known. Normally any company spends crores of rupees to get its name across board. In India, you won't find a single person who doesn't know Bofors. In fact, the guns in India are all called as Bofors. So
we still don't have guns.
No, you know the reason. No, we have. We need more regiments. We have certain number of regiments. We have to double, triple it, and the exercise has begun. There is Dhanush, which is being 155-46 caliber, which has been successfully developed by OFB, the Ordnance Factory. There is one Towed one, which I cleared recently for 814 purchase by 10714 purchase. There are more. So the process for almost about 2,000 procurement is on. So maybe another couple of years we should get the guns. The problem is not the guns. The problem is you should realize that sometimes we throw the baby with the bathwater. When we blacklist someone, instead of see the person who took the kickback in Bofors, you have not been able to identify him, you have not been able to punish him, you have not been able to recover the money, and the country doesn't have a gun for 30 years. So who suffered? It is country which has suffered. So the new policy which we are tweaking, we are going through it, we are doing the exercise, we will take stakeholders also, we have taken initial reactions, we will take post-drafting reactions, but I think the final line should be, irrespective of anything, the country's need is supreme. Only you work out a mechanism to declare what is country's interest and who determines it. This is very critical. So it's not an arbitrary decision. Country's need is supreme, has to be decided by certain person under certain circumstances. Like for example, in Tatra, I took a decision. Luckily it was accepted by many people because they knew the situation, and situation was always heading towards something like Bofors gun. 2.5 years, there was no spares, no new trucks. So all your systems working with army, 7,500, 720 trucks were down. All Pinaka missile system was out of date for supply. So if you continued like that, you would have asked me, where is your preparedness? So I took a very specific decision. It's very specific, it's not general decision. Wherever there is a criticality to be supported by a document and certificate from the head, army head or navy head or whoever it is, with that certificate, a specific purchase is permitted. It's not a general permission.
So is the new system, if there is alleged corruption, The services will not suffer. The corrupt action will be taken against the corrupt. Is that what you're saying?
Actually, that
Companies will not be blacklisted?
Companies should be blacklisted. If they do something wrong, they should be blacklisted, but they should be also brought before the courts and punished. And at the same time, if you extend that, sometimes it becomes difficult to explain before a television show because people tend to misquote afterwards. So I will just make it very clear. You should not create situation in such a way that you fall. Today the situation is like this. If I blacklist A, company A, I blacklist almost, this is in general I'm saying, all the companies where the A has a share. Now all arms companies across globe, they are having interlink connections all the way. Virtually you blacklist 20-30 with one shot. You can create a situation where you blacklist almost everyone out. So why is a tender required? There's only one left.
Which is what happened in your predecessor's time, and which is where defense procurement suffered generally.
I'll not point to someone, but in order to keep his image, to keep my image clean, if I don't do justice to my role, that is, I think, which will harm the defense force.
So, A.K. Antony's tenure harmed defense forces?
I'm very clear. If I do something, I can bet on a very above-the-board decision. But decision-making sometimes results into, there are two options. Obviously, one, you have to choose one. And I don't hesitate in taking decision. If I feel something is right, I will take the decision. I don't hesitate at all, whatever may be the consequence or whichever way someone feels. Because there are both, see, all these procedures and all these actions earlier has resulted into every company which is supplying some arm to India complaining against some other company and sending pseudonymous or documents to me. And in some cases I found that they send envelopes with what is inside is printed in a summary on the top. और उसमें character assassinations, possibly some of it may have some meaning, but in general, if you try to attack someone, you can make out which lobby is active. Okay.
Tell me this: Make in India is something big that Prime Minister Narendra Modi talks about. How do you take it beyond being a slogan? Because sometimes when we speak to these arms companies, they say 49% is not good enough. They're saying 26% and 49% is not worth either our time or our money, investing that kind of money and not getting the results. Should it be increased to 51?
Make it India. Actually, it is 49% automatic. It can be up to 100% on specific case. So if anyone has a real technology and India does not have a technology, for example, if any air company without any obligation from our side wants to set up a manufacturing unit of fighter planes in India, I have no objection to it. If he wants 100% also, I will permit. I'm not saying I will, in sense that I will recommend it, because the permission has to come from the particular authority.
So you're open to 100% FDI in defense,
it is
critical technologies?
Critical technologies, it can be 100% with case-to-case basis approval. That is the decision. I'll not go into it. Whether it is 49%, whether it is 100%, let me assure you one thing. Make in India is not directly linked with this. It has a linkage. Make in India process is the most important aspect for defense. In fact, for Make in India, defense is the most important. The rest has no much control, so they are already there, Make in India. Your policies will determine whether they function or sometimes they close down, like Nokia did. Those are, whether you are going to charge income tax with taxes with back date will determine whether people will come here, and how much times you will do somersault or zigzag in your policy decision also depends and determines how many foreign companies will like to come here. For that matter, even an Indian company. Even I will not like to deal with someone who can change his views overnight. So that is basically industrial investment climate. But defense, it is important because the client is only one. You don't understand many times the difference between other areas and defense. Here it is only government which is going to buy. And if government buys, subsequently you can create an export market slowly.
Yeah.
So defense, it is very important. Therefore, whenever you say make in India, there has to be some guarantee, backup guarantee of purchase for at least certain period of time. In absence of that, because of some reason you can't give a purchase order. In absence of that, some methodology by which the person who has developed something will get compensated for it. In extreme case where you change your decision, because nowadays they change it too many times, I have stopped that. I sometimes don't see how, because people who decide the QR sometimes must be seeing those Marvel Comics movies.
General, that's a major comment because it's the army, the armed forces that decide the GSQRs, the staff requirements for any weapon system. You have a minister who's been handpicked by the Prime Minister to set the house in order. Do you, one, concede there's a major mess when it comes to the way our armed forces are prepared in terms of equipment? And what are your priorities? What do you expect of the minister that this is required, priority A, B, C for the armed forces ASAP?
Right. There are a number of issues which need to be considered. One, of course, is that the present mechanism is slightly tardy. If you see the provisions of DPP 2013, it's a very tardy process. It's supposed to be mandated within 2 to 3 years, a scheme, reaching its conclusion. But my experience has been 5 to 6 years. That's the time it is taking. So we got to do something, think out of the box, have procedures. Because what are we looking at, ladies and gentlemen? We are looking at accountability, we are looking at transparency. And I think I made a recommendation earlier, and I would like to repeat here with the permission of the Honorable Minister, that why don't we, for issues, for items that are urgently required, critical deficiencies, we create a composite team of people with the highest integrity in the country, irreproachable integrity in our country. We get them together from all walks of our society, put them together. Let them identify in concert with the military what is required. Let them go out, purchase and come back. But my point is we cannot continue to keep the critical deficiencies as they are. They've got to be addressed. We can afford to wait for certain deficiencies which are there. The other point which came up, I must highlight here, otherwise I'll be doing disservice to my colleagues in the army and the military. The performance of the OFB has to increase. You didn't talk about the deficiency in ammunition. Well, to some extent, the guns which are there, we've upgraded our 130mm guns. We are going in for mediumization. The ammunition is a problem. The quality of ammunition is a problem. The problem of fuses is there. Now, these are the things which also need to be looked into.
They indeed need to be. You talked about...
Add up one line.
You
only.
must. Yes, sir.
He said 5 to 6 years. I think he is very generous.
He's being very generous.
I cleared a DAC for mine countermeasure vessel. In our terms, it is called as minesweepers.
Minesweeper.
The defense is another very important thing. They make a very simple gun. You will find they describe it in such a manner that you won't be able to understand that it is a gun. They describe it. So mine countermeasure vessel, which means minesweeper, was a process started in 2005. 500 crores, 484 crores spent in Goa shipyard on it. After 8 years of experiment, they found the consultant to have had some agreement with some automobile industry, automobile workshop in Delhi. Obviously, you know why automobile, koi bhi chalta tha. That was cancelled, and still it was going round and round. So I said, nothing doing. You have already worked on it, give it, and I cleared it. Last DAC, we cleared some 12. Meantime, half the fleet has gone out of service. If this was not decided now, because supply will be 2020. Just pointing out, 5 to 6 years, he was very generous. In some cases, it is 10 years.
You're talking about Make in India. You're also talking about reforms in the system. The armed forces, Mr. Minister, are very keen on integration, not just in name, but actual integration of service headquarters with Ministry of Defense. 2 questions here. Does the country need a Chief of Defense Staff? And 2, can a Major General, for example, be appointed as Joint Secretary in the Ministry of Defence?
I'll not link it with rank, because I'm not aware of what rank is equivalent to what. But I think integration has to begin, and Chief of Army Staff is a must.
Chief of Defence Staff.
Chief of Defence Staff is a must. How do you work it out? Give me some time, I'll work it out. Because the three forces integration does not exist in the current system. I need helicopter. Who flies it? Army Aviation Wing or Air Force? उसके ऊपर ही झगड़े होते. आर्मी के हेलीकॉप्टर यूनिट रहेंगे, वो दिन रात उधर ये करेंगे. एयरफोर्स का अलग प्रोटोकॉल रहेगा. वो मैच नहीं होगा, आपको मालूम है, वो मैच नहीं होगा. सो आई एम नॉट criticizing, but force integration and requirements integration as well as overlapping, that will save us money, because overlap will be the number of items will be reduced and better utilization can be ensured.
Can you give us a time frame? कब तक आप CDS लेकर आएंगे? Because 2001 से been hanging
चीफ
fire.
मिनिस्टर होने के बाद एक सिखाओ टाइम फ्रेम कभी भी मत दे दो. अगर दे दिया तो नेक्स्ट मीटिंग में मैं आप पूछूंगा, यू विल आस्क मी, अरे क्या हो गया. देयर आर, बिकॉज फ्रॉम माई टाइम फ्रेम इट कैन बी यस्टरडे, बट इन गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया देयर आर प्रोसीजर्स एंड हायर अथॉरिटीज. This cannot be done by Raksha Mantri himself. It is a cabinet committee on security which will have to take the decision. So when the authority is not with me, I don't give you time frame. But
will you recommend it immediately or soon?
It has to be recommended with the very clear aspects it will deal with and how to do it. But more or less in next 2-3 months from my side, my note or the recommendation or the briefing will go to the right place.
General, what do you make of the minister's commitment? Next 2 to 3 months, he will recommend a Chief of Defence Staff. Recommend. Make a note.
No, I'm not saying I'm recommending Chief of Defence Staff.
The appointment.
You are putting words in my mouth. I said I am recommending a mechanism for creation of a post of Chief of Defence Staff. Who will be the defence staff, how he is appointed will be part of that briefing. But I believe that 1, 2, 3, 3 service chiefs are there. Today there is a chairman.
Chief of Staff Committee.
He is virtually a figurehead. So make him more effective, whatever name you call him. He should be able to have discussion with all three and work out strategic requirement and strategic needs and some powers.
With your permission, let me just flag one very important issue. Ladies and gentlemen, willy-nilly, there is a system that has evolved over the years where, given the tenures that are there of the naval and the air chief, by and large, they have extended tenure as the chairman chief of staff committee. And mind you, I just had about 6 months. Now, how do you expect the army to further the agenda in the right perspective of war fighting? And I'm not by any means saying that we are the prima donna sort of player on the battlefield. No, it's going to be a joint effort. The Army, Navy, Air Force is going to be operating together. But the understanding of the sentiments of the Army, which actually is going to provide conditions which are going to enable the realization of political end state at the end of the war, should not be lost sight of. So the only point I give is that we must be sensitive to the sensitivities of the Army. Like, for example, what the Honorable Minister said. You make one person stronger, what about the enduring tenure? Unless there is an enduring tenure of the chairman's chief of staff, he will not be able to deliver. He should be one point advisory person to the Prime Minister, to the Raksha Mantri, to the government. He's supposed to be exercising administrative control over the Strategic Forces Command. Today, our Andaman and Nicobar Command is suffering. Why is it suffering? Because of lack of a permanent chairman chief of staff. An Air Force guy comes, an Army guy comes, it's getting into the background. I think we need to create a permanent, which is apart from the three services, a person who can put together all the aspirations of the three services and create jointness. But if we are going to empower one of them, I think we are working back, only we are trying to empower a person today who's there. And it's already skewed in terms of the tenures that are there of various chiefs.
I agree. What he is pointing out is a issue. That's why I did not want to commit to you exactly, because I am interacting with many of them defense, the current senior army people, retired ones, and the defense. All three I am interacting. That's why I was not very committal in schedule. I think what he is pointing out as a meaning, it has to have some tenure, time period, and that is true for almost any important post. You can't have it for 6 months, 8 months without any power. Integration of the force with the defense ministry also has to be done, but mind you, doing it overnight will not serve a purpose. It has to be in a stage and at appropriate, like you can start with ex-servicemen welfare area, giving more role to the defense personnel. You can start in some other areas. Definitely it has to be integrating. They refer to Ministry of Defense and various headquarters of services refers to each other as they, we. I think we are all we.
It has to be one we. That integration is so desperately required in terms of reforms. I want to, for a moment, Minister, move to China. Now, George Fernandez referred to China as India's enemy number one. Does that perception stay now that you are Defense Minister?
I'll tell you my own experience about a neighbor. Where I stayed originally, the neighbor were very noisy, a small family, and there was a lot of dispute in the neighborhood. One of them probably was always remained high on alcohol at night and fought. And I was in IIT, so my mother had a very strained relation with the neighbor because they used to create a nuisance at night time. When I came, I thought of the problem and then realized that we can't become non-neighbors overnight unless we shift or they shift. The best solution was I had a talk with him and worked out a solution somehow, which I realized resulted into much reduction of tensions. I gave him some solution. I talked to his supplier. I told supplier that you don't allow him to leave the taven, as we call in Goa, immediately after he consumes. Thoda der udhar bitha do. So all kinds of mechanisms were done to ease the situation. I think the best way to deal with any neighbor is work out better relations. But that does not give a right to Raksha Mantri to be not non-prepared or unprepared or underprepared. So these two things are isolated. I will love to have China as a very good friend, love to have even Pakistan as a very good friend. And don't make it as a matter of today's discussion. Don't take it out of context. What I am trying to say is you should have a good relationship with your neighbors. That's the best way one can. But hardly anyone has. Ask them. The ऊपर वाला खड़ करते रहता है, सो नीचे वाले को नींद नहीं आती. बाजू वाला क्या करते रहता है मालूम नहीं, क्या पकाता है भी मालूम नहीं. उसका बास आता है वो, you can't manage that. So all this kind of.
वैसे जो बाजू वाले का बास आता है उसको कैसे पाकिस्तान से डील करेंगे?
नहीं, I am trying to tell you, everyone has at least one neighbor with whom he is having a tussle. You ask who has all good neighbors. Very rare you will get.
Before I ask them, they have a lot of questions for you.
No, I'll finish it.
Okay.
So the best way is to piece off relation with the neighbor, live with some disturbance of his also, but prepare yourself for the eventuality. In that case, he also becomes a good neighbor.
Okay. As far as China is concerned,
I have not completed. The day I became chief minister, वो छोटा लफड़ा बाजू में था, उसको लोकल पीआई जाके उसको बोला, तुम रात को 10 बजे के बाद में गाली खरोच दे दिया, बड़ा आवाज किया, तो तुमको मैं जेल में डाल दूंगा. I didn't know this. Suddenly मैं चीफ मिनिस्टर बनने के बाद, because I used to stay at my place only, उसका रात को बम बंद हो गया. So if you have don't put me on that VIP culture. But if you have enough strength, the neighbor, even if he can't be totally controlled, gets under control automatically. So we have to develop the control strength.
Are we developing that strength when it comes to China, especially infrastructure development, both in the northeast and in eastern Ladakh, sir?
I have to develop it. There is no choice to it. You are asking me a question which is without a choice.
General has a comment
how
there.
do you save money on it? With minimum money is a concept you can develop, but you have to do it.
You see, on the infrastructure, ladies and gentlemen, the problem that is there along the northern borders, firstly is the treacherous terrain, very difficult terrain. Number two is, I would say, the in-house problem of the DRDO, or beg your pardon, or DGBR, and the BRO. We need to bring about more, I would say, revamp this organization, revitalize it. At the moment, there are problems in this organization. It lacks accountability. There are slippages in terms of, your cost overruns, time overruns. This has been going on for a very long time, and they have not been able to meet the timeline. But I think what is required is perhaps to segregate the military component of this resource, because this resource can produce results. If we segregate the military component and set the civil under perhaps the MORT or any other agency, let them function from there in the hinterland, let the border areas be run by them, looked after by them. The other thing is that there are problems which are there in terms of labor, and I think we had made a presentation to the Honorable Raksha Mantri, and I think it would be available in the Ministry of Defense. We can create our own pioneer companies. If there's a labor problem, there's a problem of aggregate, there's a problem of your environment clearance, the wildlife clearance. All these things have got to be addressed, and I feel we need to create a single window and perhaps move ahead with this in a more focused manner. Otherwise, we are lagging out. There's no point creating combat power if you do not have the infrastructure for its application. You need roads, you need gun positions, you need logistics in echelons to be staged forward. So we need to go in for infrastructure development, perhaps give it a very focused commitment.
Minister?
What he says is meaning. One of the biggest problem is continuous fight between civilian staff and the military staff. It was under MOST, we have got it now under defense from this year. So we are working on this. We are also working on outsourcing of certain projects. First time BRO with CIA had an interactive session. They have formed committees to how to do it. So possibly we'll start moving. But remember one thing, the Indian terrain, a lot of people compare Chinese infrastructure with Indian infrastructure. Indian terrain is at least 3 to 4 times more difficult than the Chinese terrain at the same point. It's like flat area almost from one side and a treacherous area from the other. We lose a person a day in BRO. Many people don't know this because of this terrain condition and hostile condition. Of course, they have done very well. You have to appreciate that and follow that. But it will take some time, but we have already started acting on it.
The floor, there are several questions. General Malik has his hands up, and so does Colonel Thapar. General Malik, you go first, sir. General Malik is right up front.
Mr. Parikar, I'm going to ask 3 very quick questions. But before that, let me also compliment you and your government on the push that you are giving to the defense industry. And second, to the memorial, which has been pending for many decades now. And third, to the OROP, one rank, one pension, which we hope that will come through in the next few days, if not months. But my questions are, first, of the budget, sir. Our defense planning 5-year plans are non-functional at all. I think almost all ex-chiefs would tell you that. We are dependent on the annual budget. And in this annual budget which has come out, I find there is absolutely no scope for you to start any new schemes of equipping the armed forces. Whatever capital budget has been allocated this time will probably go into your committed liabilities, and it is not going to leave you anything to start to buy something new. So all the promises that you are making, if we continue to go like this, and incidentally last year also, I think you have handed back about 12,000 crores out of the total budget, if I remember correctly, it's about 6,000 crore is out of the capital side, I know.
You're correct.
So this is one major problem that we are all facing. I don't know how you are going to make use. May I ask the second question, sir? Quick question I'm going to. Second is, we're talking just now about a new core has been raised for our northern front. It is in fact, it is already being raised. But you do not have equipment, you do not have ammunition, and you do not have the infrastructure where they are supposed to be deployed. And both these things are going to take 10, 15 years. What I find is today you are taking equipment and weapons from the War Bases Reserve or from the regular units, which I think is the most dangerous thing to do, because this is what happened before Kargil War. So how are you going to do that? We have the manpower, but we do not have the equipment or enabling them to fight. I find that the quantity of manpower is taking precedence over the quality of the defense forces as a force. And the third, sir, very quick one, is on the High Defense Control Organization. I'm glad the statement that you have made, but one would like to see that the military senior officers are in the loop of policy making. And if you go by the present business rules, which states that the defense secretary is responsible for the defense of the country and the chiefs have no role to play. Unless you correct that, you will not be able to have civil-military relations, which is a big issue which has been going on for so many years.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
you.
Point number one, OROP is moving. It has gone to Defense Finance. It's only department which has to undergo two financial scrutinies. One is internal Ministry of Defense Finance and Ministry of Finance. So it's at this moment with Ministry of Defense Finance. And I hope that in a week's time it should go to the Finance Ministry. So let's hope it gets cleared fast there. I will do my best to clear it. From my side, acceptance of a undisputed logic of calculation has been well established, which was a problem for last 1 year or maybe earlier time also. Now the concept is accepted, figure will have to be verified, logics will have to be verified, how to make it. One of the reason I think OROP was in confusion, because a lot of people does not know, and this surprised me. I did not know myself, but it was quite justifiable for me because I am from Goa, where there is no background of defense. But I found that even in North India, many people don't know that army jawans start retiring from 35.
17 years of service.
So everyone asked me this question, कल BSF का क्या करेंगे? हम बोला उनको भी रिटायर अगर 35 से होता है तो वही लगाएंगे प्रिंसिपल. So what I am trying to point out that military is a different entity was not realized. So that is moving. Second, 12,000 crores, of course we lost first 3-4 months because of elections and the new government. So everything was initiated after June. So obviously expenses could not be done. But
now you're talking about, sir, that the final point.
At least 5 years I am seeing the figures. I don't think it is not that much. No, and don't worry. The current year budget, we have adequate money to go for something like 70,000-80,000 crores new equipment. Because in equipment or anything, you don't pay everything upfront. You pay between 10 to 15% upfront, and deliveries start after 3-4 years. So your actual requirement starts with the future plan. I have projected committed liabilities over next. Mind you, I am equally good in finance. I love finance, in fact. So I have projected the committed liability over next 6 years and found that there is enough space. And the most important part I will tell you is it depends on who goes to the market. If I went to the market in my childhood, probably जो fish हम लोग खरीदते थे, मैं एक particular cost पे लेके आता था, उसका 70% में मेरी माँ लेके आती थी. because one, she could negotiate well, two, वो घर के लिए था, और here, if someone with integrity can work out negotiations and work out wastage properly, I think your rupee will travel 20-25% more. And I intend to do it. I have already started doing it. Wastage are being curtailed. Even war wastage reserves. It's very funny. I can now use it with ease, but I never thought war wastage will be the ammunition. वेस्टेज मतलब हमारे भाषा में एक बाहर फेंकने का जो चीज़ होता है उसको आर्मी कॉल्स एवरीथिंग वेस्टेज. इवन समटाइम मैन पावर ऑल्सो दे से दैट मीन रिटायर होने वाले को वेस्टेज बोलते हैं. दैट अपार्ट द वॉर वेस्टेज रिजर्व, देयर कैनॉट बी यूनिफॉर्म रूल फॉर एवरीथिंग. द criteria, cut-off criteria has to be based, and you will agree with me, cut-off criteria will have to be based on cost of the product, its shell life, whether it is manufactured in India or whether it is ex-import. ये 4 क्राइटेरियाज के ऊपर कितना 15 दिन, 20 दिन, 25 दिन, 50 दिन, 100 दिन, जो कुछ आपको रखना है वो रखना पड़ेगा. और ऑल्सो what will be your requirement, मतलब वो भी ट्विक करना पड़ेगा as the day go. So what I am trying to point out, all these aspects we are taking into consideration. I think the same money will be able to buy more.
There are major reforms that are happening. There are several hands up, but we will perhaps have to speak to the Minister and the General after the session now. That is all we have time for in this session. Many thanks to all of you for joining us, Minister. Many thanks, General. Many thanks.